We decided to take a family trip to Juneau, Wisconsin and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where my grandmother was born. She was born in Milwaukee and spent her whole childhood in Juneau, which is a very small town. And she always talks about it. Throughout her life, she's told us many stories about her childhood and has very fond memories. And more recently, as she's been aging, she's now 92 years old, she's talked about it even more and seems to always go back to those earliest memories and has so much joy as she's telling us these stories about her home and about her high school and about her college days. And most people in our family have not gone and seen it for ourselves. We don't have any personal experiences with Wisconsin, and we've been in California for many years, and she came here in the 40s. So I thought it was a really great opportunity both for our family members and our generation to see her hometown and learn more about the family history, and also to bring her back and have some kind of reliving of those memories and seeing what the place is like now, so that she could really have maybe one last trip. She's not traveling so much these days, so that seemed like the only place she might be interested in going and exploring again.
Yes. Fabulous.
Fabulous. We're going to document this entire trip.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot to list watch and look at.
So who came on this trip? Our grandmother Safta, Sylvia, and all of the women in our family. Cindy, her daughter, Tiki, Maya, Avital, her wife Monique, and me, Daniela. And it happened to be that way that all the women came together to go accompany her on this trip. And it was really special. I don't know if we've ever done a trip like that before, just the Paley-Aboody women like that.
Here's the Wisconsin cheese.
I'm going to ask her about the On the first morning in Milwaukee, we all went over the itinerary together and also made a phone call to Lucille, who is my grandmother's best friend from college. And we called Lucille and arranged to meet up with her later that afternoon. And when we met up with Lucille...
Excuse me. Lucille has a group of people visiting her who've known, or somebody's here that's known her for over 70 years, and her family.
It was really this incredible reunion. They didn't quite recognize each other at first because, of course, they looked pretty different from their college days. But as soon as they said their name, Lucille was overjoyed and she was like, "Sylvia!" And she gave her this huge hug.
Look at this. I'm in Hollywood. She was my girlfriend for many years. Through college.
And we interrupted the bingo game, but then we kind of moved over to another part of the room. And Lucille had this incredible memory and told us tons of stories about their college days that we had never heard before.
Your mother had so many boyfriends. It was.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do remember. There was two of them were in competition with each other. They were relatives. I think they were cousins, and they were in competition.
I married Lester. I met him on a train.
Well, then where else?
Coming to California.
Yes.
That's who they know.
That's of course who they know. But she did have boyfriends before that.
I don't remember.
Oh, I remember them very well. And then there was Herman, and one that really loved you. He wanted to marry you.
Who was that?
You didn't really like him. He wanted to do something nasty. I still remember that. Something really nasty, and you said, "No way." We were very clean-cut girls. Really and truly, we were really virgins right up to the last minute. I don't know about you, so yeah. I wasn't sick. You were supposed to be a virgin.
After we said goodbye to Lucille, we went to visit my grandmother's first cousin, Phyllis, at her home.
And Maury still alive?
What?
Maury, is he alive?
Oh, no.
No.
Rory, Rosie, Julia, all gone.
All gone.
My
Well,
parents
Julia
gone.
went to the
Who
last
I have left? Have you?
I'm it?
I think so.
I don't know.
What cousins are left?
I don't know.
Melvin is gone.
Melvin, Martin.
Marcus is in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
And who else is left? Let's see.
We're in Juneau!
I think Juneau was different than I expected. I had a picture painted in my mind from the 1920s and 30s and 40s. It was actually like a very beautiful, quaint little town, lots of color and really friendly people, and I put it in this present moment and realized that it's a great place to grow up, and it seemed really pleasant.
I think I pictured Juneau only in black and white. I don't think I really could fathom what a colorful Juneau looked like. So it was suggested to me to reach out to people in the town. So I reached out to the mayor and I explained a little bit about our family history. And I think he was particularly intrigued that the family was the only Jewish family in Juneau, and it sounded like there hasn't really been any more Jews since then. So I told him the story. I said that we were taking this big trip all together to come back and bring her there, and he was very intrigued. And he ended up connecting us with the Historical Society, and also reached out to the local news and scheduled a whole interview for us with the news in the Historical Society, and spent half the day with us, touring us around all the places that I listed that my grandmother had wanted to see. And it was really special, and I think rewarding for both the mayor and the town, and also for us to have that attention and be able to go into those places that we wouldn't have had access to or really known where to look.
Tell us what's unique about your family profession, what's your father's
My
profession?
father was a junk dealer. He went around to the farmers and collected rags and junk and loaded up his truck every 2 weeks, I think, and took it all to Milwaukee to sell. That was how he made a living.
And supported 4 children.
And supported all of us. And we all left for California.
Well, it sounded like you were very active in high school.
I was active.
I see you even played basketball.
I played basketball, and I was in all the plays, and I had the lead in the high school junior, and when I was a junior and when I was a senior.
Super.
My senior play was called "Don't Take My Penny," and Penny was supposed to be going to Hollywood, and I was Penny, and that's where I ended up.
Son of a gun. Wow.
I don't know if that was an omen or not, but that was the play.
So we didn't know if the house that she grew up in was still there. We had heard that maybe it had been destroyed, but the mayor assured us that it was there because I gave him the information as to where it was and which house. And when we saw the house, it looked a bit different from the pictures, but it had, has changed a little bit. And my grandmother at first didn't quite recognize it, but then the more we stood there and kind of walked around, I think it was starting to come back to her, and she was really shocked. She thought, that it was gone. She had really internalized this story that it was no longer there, and was really shocked to see it there, and I think start to remember what the place meant to her.
We had a wonderful time in being in plays, and I liked Juneau High School. It was so warm and cozy. I knew everybody, and everybody knew me.
The stage is still back there. It's all covered with pallets. Yes, this is the balcony.
And then when I got to California, I thought, well, maybe I should have been here and gone to high school. But then I thought about it, I said, but I wouldn't have known everybody in my classes.
Oh, that's great.
I had a much better education. And we had wonderful teachers, and I had a lot of attention. And I couldn't have had that in a big city school. So I'm really grateful that I was here all my life.
Great.
And I'm glad to be back.
Good.
We went to Oconomowoc, which I had heard about before from my mom and from Sylvia, my grandmother, as a really beautiful lakeside town, and I knew that the family had taken some vacations there, but I didn't know that our family had a lake house. Not in my grandmother's immediate family, but her uncle owned this house that's still in the family for many generations. My mom made a phone call to one of the cousins who told us where it was and that it was open. So we just walked right into this very, very old, dilapidated house right on the beautiful lake in Oconomowoc. And we went inside and found some old albums that we flipped through and saw some of our family members we recognized, and got to experience what it was like for them to vacation on the lake throughout all these years.
Our family, all these characters we're talking about, and on these past few days, learning about different stories of different uncles and the whole Raskin family, it so came to life when we got to walk into this house in Oconomowoc and to see these pictures and names and put it all together. It was pretty magical, especially because it wasn't planned, and it was a moment that we couldn't have expected. I think it's really important to know your own family history and to know where you come from. And we were really fortunate to accompany our grandmother on a trip to where she came from and where her family has deep roots in history, while she's still here with us, and she can share her voice and tell us her experience firsthand and walk the streets with her and be breathing the air of Wisconsin, and to get that colorful experience and very lived somatic experience of where we have these roots and where these stories are being held, and to bring them to life. I think it's really invaluable to really know your own family history and how that lives in you, and so that we can pass it on for the future generations to come.
This was an amazing trip. I think, going with all of the women in the family, or most of the women in the family, was really special for all of us, and to really see where Soft is from. And we've heard about Wisconsin and Juneau for our whole lives, but we couldn't grasp it. It wasn't tangible for us, and now it really is, and we feel more connected to her story and her family, and I'm excited to meet more members of the family, and I just feel blessed to have been able to go on this trip with her. I feel really lucky that we got to all do this together.
A wonderful experience, seeing Sylvia getting excited over every moment of the trip, meeting people, seeing her home, seeing her town, her school, etc., etc. There's so much to see, Tali, and you, Monique, did a great job. You worked really hard to really make it such beautiful, wonderful, with plenty of surprises and excitement trip, and we appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts.
To see my mom, meeting her old friend from college, it's really a special time, and to take her back in memory lane, it's really, really special.